camera is on.
Welcome to Nights at the Round Table, a round table discussion on speculative fiction books and film. Okay, so hi everybody, and welcome to the next episode of Nights at the Round Table. Today we are discussing the 2013 film.
It's really that old.
Sonia.
Yeah.
Action fantasy film Hansel and Gretel. I'm going to start with general impressions of the film. I'm sitting here with Bill and with PY, and I'm going to start with Bill.
Well, you want fun? It's a good fun movie. You want entertainment? It's entertaining. You want something serious? Go somewhere else. Yes. This is actually a really very fun movie. It's not very, it doesn't take itself very seriously. So, anybody who wants to take it seriously probably is not the movie for you.
Yeah. PY.
This falls into the category of so bad that it's good.
Ooh, see, I would debate that. I actually genuinely think it's good. It's just, it's so dumb that it's good. It's not bad. It's a dumb movie, but it's brilliant because it's so weirdly dumb.
Because it never takes itself seriously.
Because it doesn't take itself seriously. You know what you're in for. Yeah. So that would be my review. It's dumb, but it's brilliant. I had a lot of fun with this movie. And that's the idea. It's sort of a fun action fantasy. There's a lot of gore. There's a lot of humor, a lot of silly moments. And so, one of my favourite things about this movie was the modern anachronisms that appeared in, like, the missing child posters on the milk bottles.
The fanboy?
Yeah, the fanboy. Jeremy Renner's, like, weird timer clock thing that reminded him he had to take his insulin, which was in this huge, like, steampunk needle. Like, it was hilarious. It was really good. So, yeah, that's my review. Some of your favourite parts from the movie.
It's like, how do you narrow that down?
There's a lot about this movie that's really smart. Like, it's smartly filmed. It doesn't take itself seriously, but it's quite clever about the way it goes about these things.
A lot of the attempted trap scenes had to be my favorite. So when they're in the forest and he starts trying to set up all these ways to catch the witch on the broom. Mm-hmm. And then finally it's a Resident Evil 1 scene where she just goes right through it.
Oh, the razor wire?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, some of my favourite things about this movie were that the two protagonists, Hansel and Gretel, were twins, and they acted like twins. They got on each other's nerves, but they really loved each other. Like, there was a pause in the last boss fight, essentially, where Hansel just looks over at his sister and goes, "You look like shit." And she responds with, "I really hate you." But they're holding hands. So it was really sweet. I really like that.
The most serious part of this whole movie was the very first part, which is the original Hansel and
Gretel.
Gretel.
The original Hansel and Gretel story.
Yeah.
But then they kill it with the girl going, "Hot enough for you, bitch." I'm like, "You're 11."
Yes.
They talk like that at 5 now.
Right? And yeah.
I'm sure 11-year-old Sonia said stuff like that.
No, 11-year-old Sonia was very uptight.
Sorry.
That's okay. Modern Sonia is not at all. Modern Sonia makes Navy men blush.
See? Look at I'm blushing. Navy man.
There was another thing that caught my ear, which made me fall off my seat laughing, and I'm not sure how intentional it was. But when Hansel, Jeremy Renner's character, goes, "Evil is upon you whether you like it or not," I fell off my seat laughing because it was literally Aragorn from Return of the King. Like, or was it the Two Towers? War is upon you whether you would like it or not.
Regardless.
Yeah. It was very Lord of the Rings. And I was at work watching this during a break and almost got into trouble because I was laughing so hard. Like, I almost fell off my seat underneath my desk. It made me laugh so hard, and I don't know if it was intentional or not, but if it was, well done, screenwriters. That was hilarious.
That's one of the few statements nobody commented on in the sort of the reviews and the trivia
it's
thing.
just because I know Lord of the Rings so well that it immediately jumped out. I'm like, okay, Aragorn, calm down.
Because there were a couple other lines in there which were hinting back to other grim tales, like when the fanboy was nursing Gretel back to health there, he asked if she wanted some porridge, and it's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's just right.
It was all those little things, but that it wasn't the grim story itself. It's what happened later.
Yeah, exactly.
With a lot of steampunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the stuff was, if you were taking the movie seriously and you're like, okay, so this is a late Middle Ages time period, judging by everything, but they have, I don't know,
Shotguns?
a Tommy gun.
Shotgun,
Yeah,
it's my
a
favorite
shotgun.
tool.
Yeah. Rapid fire crossbow that isn't exactly the way that Leonardo da Vinci conceived of the rapid fire crossbow. It's literally just
based off
like a
of Final
staple gun.
Fantasy VI's Edgar's auto crossbow.
Yeah, oh god. I really like how this movie set up sort of the idea that they're witch hunters, or witches are evil, until like at the end when you realize, no, because I was gonna get super mad at the movie for that. I'm like, I'm so done with this trope of evil witches. So dumb. But they didn't. They set it up that way, and then they went, but actually,
Yes, there are good witches.
there are good witches. Plot twist. Also, spoilers. If you haven't seen this movie, I just go watch it now. Turn this off. Go watch it and come back. Gretel's a witch.
And she doesn't get burnt.
So is he technically? Yes, their mother was a witch.
Yeah, but the way they set it up, though, only women were witches. You didn't see any male witches.
Yeah,
in this
that's
movie.
right too. Yeah.
So it seemed,
Like even the one that I thought was a guy in the sort of the gathering of the witches at the end, I thought it was a guy, and then they pan back at her later on. It's like, no, that's a woman.
Yeah.
Right. So, but
The actual witch's design was awesome, though.
I liked the
They
idea.
were ugly, but the makeup was something else.
Yeah, really well
And
done.
I mean, it wasn't all just the same, okay, well, cracked skin. You had different variations of each, and getting to see them all in one shot, you're just like, makeup artists were probably pulling an all-nighter to get this together.
Yeah.
one of the funnier ones was the Siamese twins ones.
That actually that feels like they pulled straight out of Silent Hills for that. Like, it was pretty creepy.
Yeah, there is a lot of nods to a lot of different witch types and sort of horror movies in this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like where they have different types of witches, the swamp witch, the etc.
Mm-hmm.
And as well as they were pulling from the legends, as well as from modern sort of witchcraft story.
Yeah, ideas about what blah words. I meant to say ideas about what witchcraft is. Oh my god! I haven't even been drinking, guys.
We should have fixed
More
that
coffee, stat.
Should have brought that bottle of rum.
It's actually.
Is it still up there?
Yeah. I love the costumes in this. I want Gretel's coat. It was gorgeous. It basically looks vaguely like a modern coat, but they have like the pauldron sewn into it on the side. Hansel had a similar coat, but I liked Gretel's better.
I don't want the weapons for a LARP with foam arrows.
Could you imagine pulling out a Gatling gun during a LARP? Or just like...
Eat nerf!
The Gatling gun made me laugh. With the White Witch behind the Gatling gun,
Yes.
I was just crying with laughter. This is so dumb, but awesome, but dumb. Oh my god.
But awesome!
She's not using magic for harm.
No.
She's using a Gatling gun.
She's using a Gatling gun.
Just because it was blessed with magic didn't mean anything.
Oh, they had so many brilliant moments. Like when the after the meeting with the High Witch, and the guy comes running back into the tavern and then explodes.
Oh.
Two things about that scene that I really loved. One, Hansel knew it was coming,
Oh,
and so
man.
pulled the fanboy in front of him so he didn't get any gore in him. And two, afterwards, Gretel was like, what was it? The curse of hunger for crawling things. Fucking hate that one. Just like, yeah. So many brilliant lines in this movie. It was just
So
fun.
the best part of that isn't... the best part of that is that, Hansel covers himself and leaves his sister to fend for herself. Because he knows he's going to make a mess. He's like, not me.
Yeah, and then
Continues eating or drinking or whatever he was doing.
Drinking afterwards, he's like, didn't get any of my beer. I love the relationship between Hansel and Gretel. I know I've mentioned it before, but they really did feel like siblings.
Yeah, it was nice to have the sibling dynamic instead of some love story. The love story was to the side.
Yeah, it was on the side.
It was. It was to the side.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that about that. I also really liked how Gretel was trying to talk to Hansel, and he's like, no, I'm not hearing about it. It rolls underneath the bed. Like, that's something that a brother would do. That feels pretty organic.
It's kind of also interesting there that, after sort of the big battle on the hill there, and they sort of went their separate ways, and Gretel went to look for Edward. He didn't even question her. She said, okay, no, whatever. You got what you have to do.
Yeah. Oh, no, I mean, he went, who's Edward?
Well, other than that, he just accepted it and carried on, right?
I just say how much I loved Edward? And it felt like a throwback to like the old school Jim Henson productions. Just the structure of the face and the way it moved.
I hadn't thought of that.
Oh, yeah? It just reminded me a lot of, like, Labyrinth and The Dark Crystal.
That's where it was reminding me of, was Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was very labyrinthine.
Until you told me that, you mentioned that word, it's been bothering me all night.
Yeah, I noticed on the Blu-ray copy here, they have a segment meeting Edward the Troll. Also, can I just say, I love that the troll's name is
Edward. I know, and he's not a sparkly vampire. He's so much better.
Just, you would think like a troll name would be Grunt. No, Edward.
Or something deep, dark, and menacing. No.
Why did he save her? Oh, because of the witch line, wasn't it? He was there to
Trolls
serve
serve witches.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I mean, that was not especially subtle foreshadowing, by the way, writers.
No.
If you didn't guess it in the first little bit of right when he says that line, you're like, yeah, well, I guess she's a witch. Like, what? It sort of took away a lot of that plot twist.
It wasn't much of a plot twist, because right at the beginning, like, she was immune to the magic.
Yeah, that's true.
Which they also sort of said witches are immune to their to other witches' magic.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. The White Witch.
Oh, I picked her out as a white witch immediately.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, not especially subtle.
No.
Like, the minute she showed up, I'm like, bet you she's a witch.
She's a redhead and she sticks out from everyone else.
Yes. And of course she's accused of witchcraft.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, people are so stupid. Oh my god, she's a witch. Let's just drown her.
Like,
that's not how this works.
Actually,
did you guys watch the beginning of the movie and you have to burn them to be sure?
If you were a woman in the Middle Ages, you were shit out of luck.
I know, but
they'd
people are
tie you up
stupid.
and throw you in a river, and if you sank and drowned, oh well, guess she wasn't a witch. If you floated, oh, you're a witch, let's kill you. Like,
you're dead either way.
You're dead either way. Sucks to be you. There were a few things that made me, even with the movie being as silly as it was, made me just sort of go, oh, really? And that's the trope of dark magic versus white magic. So done with
no gray
that.
areas.
Well, not even that. It's just, it's colorless. If you think about it, it's just the way it's used.
Well, they do kind of go in, all the dark witches are all,
hideous.
Skin broken and everything else, while a white witch looks
like
amazing.
A person. Looks amazing.
She was a redhead. What do you want from me? Yes, she was.
Also, I was almost on the side of the witches, because honestly, if people were burning my sisters, I'd be pretty pissed about it. I'd be wanting to stop it. I can see where they're coming from.
It was just sacrificing one kid for every month of the year.
I mean,
had you avoided that and gone, just to kill the humans, great.
If there was a famine, you wouldn't be able to feed those kids anyway. They were doing you a favor. Or something.
Oh boy.
Sorry, you just got an exasperated look from behind the camera.
Once they have blessed Tommy guns, who cares about fire?
To be fair, they used the blessed Tommy guns on the Dark Witches.
That's what I mean.
Also, I love that Gretel is such a badass, but in the end she still ends up being a damsel in distress, and that kind of annoyed me a little bit. I would have liked to have seen that trope turned on its head and had Hansel be rescued instead. But it was still fun. And also, this is now something that I really like. Back at the final fight scene, when Hansel does a roll through the door of the candy house, and he comes up and is immediately smacked in the face with a frying pan. That was another one of those moments where I'm like, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
So yeah, a few things did annoy me. So the dark versus white magic, and Gretel still being the damsel in distress in the end. But otherwise, it was a really good romp, and I really, really enjoyed watching this movie.
Yeah, but the damsel in distress, if it was him, probably would not have made sense given the way they had portrayed the whole thing.
Well,
Yeah,
they
I know,
could
but
have hit it.
that's my point.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they could have hit it to the point where, you know, his insulin was running out again, and the needle was too far, and then she had to just stab her brother.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
They mention his diabetes, and then never talk about it again. His watch doesn't... that's the lie. In the last fight, his watch does go off, and then he starts getting weak because he didn't have insulin. I take that back.
Yeah.
Ignore everything I just said.
But they could have brought that, which would have switched the roles of who's
Yeah, it would have
saved.
switched the roles.
Yeah, if they moved it up earlier or something.
Yeah. Also, another thing that I was thinking of, that because they needed the heart of a white witch, and if they had included men in sort of the, like, could be witches thing, with Hansel's reputation, not Hansel's record with getting the wenches, it would have been really funny if his heart was the pure one, because he just could not get laid. And so there was his heart that they were after, right? That would have been a really funny turn of the trope.
You know, the other thing you mentioned, when you said that, it's sort of, this movie has, that's a contradiction in this whole movie. They try to set it back in like the medieval times, and then they throw all these modern type weapon styles.
Yeah, but that's part of the hilarity of it.
Yeah, but their concept of witchcraft remains the same as in middle century.
Yeah, well, no, not even, because there were men accused of witchcraft.
Yeah.
Not many, but there were.
Many, really.
That was an unintentional pun. I promise it was unintentional.
Just like billion?
No, that one was very intentional. It was a really bad pun, but it was intentional. Given that, was there anything that stuck out to you that you either really loved or absolutely despised about this film?
I wouldn't say despised, but I found it kind of annoying that all the broomsticks were actually tree twigs. Really, which wasn't a problem, except that they all had that curve at the back, which was easily lassoed. Every time, that's how they got rid of off the witch, was they lassoed the end.
Except for that one clothesline.
It's the clothesline, yeah. That was pretty good, though.
Oh, with that reminds me, when in the chase scene when they're getting the witch with the short spiky.
Yeah.
And he pulls it off, and she goes slamming into a tree. It looked exactly like those ridiculous Halloween decorations where it's just the witch like, around a tree like this.
Yes. I love
Nice touch.
Yeah.
Saw that. That was hilarious.
See, I hadn't even noticed at that point because I was just like, bitch had it coming.
I mean, yes.
But yeah, the other thing that was interesting is that there was a very sort of Quentin Tarantino sort of touch to the whole movie. And that's because the director was actually heavily influenced by him.
I can sort of see that. There was a lot of gore. The action was...
And the way the gore came, like the heads exploding, that's very...
Yeah, that's true. That's a Quentin Tarantino.
I just chalked that up to them going with a medieval gore fest movie with steampunk.
Yeah, but the director was heavily influenced and very much a fan of that style of movie too.
That would make sense.
Yeah, which, I mean, you could see the influences. There are lots of different influences. In this, I liked that they pulled some stuff from horror because you are dealing with witches. I liked that they went with sort of the idea of with the dark magic specifically, that it's not, a bunch of neo-pagans dancing in the woods around a tree singing songs. It's, animal sacrifice and the killing of children and awful, concoctions, which is sort of the more middle-aged European idea of what witchcraft was. Yeah. So I enjoyed that. They didn't sanitize it. Yeah. Is there anything else anybody wants to add about this movie? Because I think we're just sort of sitting here gushing about what a fun, dumb movie this is.
No, because I'm thinking, other than the fact that it is one of those really bad, great movies, is that we need them every now and then.
Yeah.
And I'm still kind of holding out for a sequel.
Yeah,
I heard that's not going to happen.
I've heard it's not going to happen either.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Holding out.
Don't hold your breath while holding out.
Okay.
We got an Evil Dead TV show after 40 years.
If they do make this into a TV show, I demand Jeremy Renner and Emma Arterton to reprise the roles, because they were brilliant.
Yeah.
Jeremy Renner has this what in this role specifically, but also a little bit as Hawkeye. He sort of doesn't take the superhero / action hero all that seriously. There's a little wink and a nod to the audience every so often, which I find really lovely. There's something about the way he does it that's just refreshing. And the line that encapsulated it was during the fight where he pulls out that stupid gun and just goes, "Don't. Just don't." And you're just like, yeah, I'd be the same way. Just no. So yeah, he has a sort of a lighter touch when it comes to playing action heroes, and I really enjoy that about him. And of course, Gemma swearing a storm is just funny. She's got such a sweet face, and then just a whole litany of curse words coming out of her mouth. I'm like, that's...
Yeah, I don't think he actually swore much at all during that movie.
No, he didn't swear much at all. It was all her.
Yeah.
Like from when 11-year-old little Gretel.
Yeah. So it was interesting too that two of the actresses were actually Bond girls.
Were they?
Yeah, Gemma's one.
Oh yeah, that's
from
right.
Quantum of Solace, and Famke, who played the head Black Witch.
Oh, she showed up, and I'm like, oh, Black Phoenix got really upset.
Yeah, but she was also a Bond girl. I can't remember which movie that was though.
Another guy.
So
yeah.
So. But
Oh yeah.
it was interesting.
But she
twist.
was really good at being evil. So.
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she was evil in that one too. No, it wasn't that one.
What?
I think her name. I think the Bond name was Pussy Galore. I think. No, it
No.
wasn't.
That's way older than she is.
No, there was a note saying that she sort of didn't reprise that role, but her character was based upon in the Bond girl.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
So
Yeah, I just...
yeah, just a fun movie.
It's just a fun, dumb,
Over the top, ridiculous.
Don't think about it too
Grab
hard
a
movie.
bowl of popcorn, turn your brain off, and just enjoy.
And then laugh hysterically at work.
Or in the comfort of your own home.
Or in the comfort of your own home. I didn't have time. I had to watch it at work. Just pop this DVD into the computer. Nobody pay attention. Yeah.
You did have headphones on.
Oh yeah,
okay.
I had headphones.
Damn. Blast.
Could you imagine?
Just go into the boardroom with big screen TV.
No, I had to get fired. Just blast a movie that has swear words all the way through it. That is actually... I don't know why I enjoy it so much, but all of those curse words were just enjoyable. I liked it.
You know, they inappropriate. They were inappropriate, and they came out in whenever.
Well, see, yeah, there were curse words, but I think they were very appropriate. Like, if I had just thrown a witch into the oven, I'd probably swear at her too after she tried to kill my brother and I. Like,
You've desensitized me so much, I didn't realize she was swearing.
I might have a mouth on me.
Might. I'm blushing over here, guys.
Come watch me stream. Alright, star rating and final thoughts.
Okay, I'm going to give this about a 3. I did enjoy the movie. It was fun to watch. It's probably one of those ones where if you really don't want to think a whole lot, just throw it in and enjoy.
PY?
Give it a 4. And it really is just one of those movies where you can sit back, relax, not think, and while certain things might be predictable, they're still worth watching.
Yeah, same for me. I'm giving it a 4. It's not a brilliant film. It's not going to make you think. Won't make you cry. It doesn't tell some grand narrative with some impact on the way that we view society, but it's a damn good, fun film to watch. And I just really loved it. just because it is so dumb, and you can turn your brain off and laugh and have a good time
And not get fired.
and not get fired.
And who the fuck is Edward?
Edward Knock.
Yeah, great film. So yeah, watch it. That's all we have to say about that. If you have any idea about what other films you'd like us to review or discuss, leave them in the comments below. We'll pop them in the bowl. And don't forget to like... Oh, wait, no. Who wants to pick the next one?
Been longer.
It's been longer. Hope you can read my writing. I apologize.
The Gamers Darkness Rising.
Dorkness Rising.
Dorkness, sorry. Okay.
Dorkness.
See, you did warn me about your writing.
I did.
So that's 2008.
Yay! So that's the film that we'll be discussing. Language. Next week. If you have any comments about Hansel and Gretel, if you agree or disagree with us, leave them in the comments below. And then don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks very much, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Or at least, like,
Silence
vibrate
them.
them.